Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, February 28th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap the weekend's games from college basketball, NBA, the NHL, and Major League Soccer. Look ahead to tonight's games in every sport. Golf, we will go over the results from the Honda Classic. We will recap the NASCAR races from the weekend. We'll talk about last night's episode of American Idol. We'll go over the latest news and notes. And my best bet of the day. We're going to start in college basketball. We'll recap all the games from the weekend, and we'll look ahead to a smaller window for tonight. So Friday night is where we always begin on Mondays. Akron over Ohio, 91-83. Princeton over Harvard, 74-67. Georgia Southern over UL Monroe, 81-75 in overtime. Georgia State over Louisiana, 65-58. Richmond over St. Louis, 68-66. Rider over Niagara, 70-68. Marist over Manhattan, 74-56. St. Peter's over Monmouth, 70-65. Iona over Kenosha, 72-65. Penn State over Northwestern, 67-60. Coastal Carolina over Little Rock, 68-55. South Alabama over Texas Arlington, 62-52. Number 25, Iowa over Nebraska, 88-78. Texas State over Troy, 66-61. And San Diego State over San Jose State, 77-52. And the results from Saturday. Michigan State upsets number 4 Purdue 68-65. New Hampshire over Binghamton 66-62. Oklahoma over Oklahoma State 66-62 in overtime. Alon over Northeastern 67-54. Toledo over Miami of Ohio 88-73. Florida over Georgia 84-72. Rhode Island over Duquesne 70-54. Marquette over Butler 64-56. Mount St. Mary's over Central Connecticut 65-46. UMBC over Maine 93-79. North Florida over Stetson 74-69. Liberty over Kennesaw State, 193 in overtime. By the way, North Florida Stetson was overtime too. Gulf Coast over Jacksonville, 76-69. Eastern Kentucky over Bellarmine, 72-58. Purdue Fort Wayne over Detroit, 81-78. Furman over the Citadel, 94-59. Mississippi State over Vandy, 74-69. Number 18, Arkansas over number 6, Kentucky, 75-73. Number 20, Texas over West Virginia, 82-81. Bucknell over BU, 89-78. Army over Holy Cross, 66-58. Lehigh over Lafayette, 78-58. American over Loyola, Maryland, 65-55. Colgate over Navy, 74-69. Merrimack over St. Fran, Brooklyn, 72-52. Sacramento over St. Fran, PA, 80-68. LA over Fairleigh Dickinson, 84-77. High Point over Hampton, 88-77. UNC over NC State, 84-74. Cornell over Yale, 71-65. Dartmouth over Penn, 84-70. Hartford over NJIT, 83-62. Lipscomb over Central Arkansas, 81-66. Jacksonville State over North Alabama, 69-52. Iowa State over Kansas State, 74-73. LaSalle over Dayton, 62-60. North Dakota State over North Dakota, 79-53. Hope Shore over William & Mary, 83-67. Buffalo over Northern Illinois, 70-60. Davidson over Fordham, 66-45. Chicago State over New Mexico State, 61-59. That's a surprising result. Virginia Tech over Miami, 71-70. Clemson over BC, 70-60. Oakland over Cleveland State, 65-57. Denver over Western Illinois, 83-77. Xavier loses at home to Seton Hall, 82-66. Florida A&M over Grambling, 79-73. Ball State over Eastern Michigan, 75-64. A&M over Ole Miss, 76-66. Number 17, Tennessee over number 3, Auburn, 67-62. Number 12, UCLA over Oregon State, 94-55. Howard over NC Central, 77-67. Eastern Carolina over Tulsa, 64-59. UC San Diego over Cal State Fullerton, 81-76. Maryland Eastern over Coppin State, 70-50. North Texas over Louisiana Tech, 56-49. FAU over Charlotte, 74-69. Weber State over Northern Arizona, 73-49. Northwestern State over New Orleans, 87-77. Utah Valley over Cal Baptist, 63-54. Bryant over Wagner, 78-70. SCF State over Gardner-Webb, 72-70. Winthrop over Charleston Southern, 92-86. Florida State over Virginia, 64-63. Vermont over UMass Lowell, 62-61. Drake over Southern Illinois, 62-60. Illinois State over Indiana State, 86-66. Chattanooga over Sanford, 70-57. UNC Wilmington over Delaware, 69-62. Drexel over Charleston, 80-79. Towson over James Madison, 95-59. New Mexico over Air Force, 69-65. SIU Edwards over Morehead State, 77-70. Austin P over Eastern Illinois, 64-52. Morgan State over Delaware State, 76-69. UNC Asheville over Presbyterian, 98-96 in the triple overtime. VCU over UMass, 77-62. Green Bay over IPUI, 67-41. Number 19, Murray State over Southeast Missouri State, 70-68. Bama A&M over Bama State, 80-65. Southeast Louisiana over Nichols, 83-81. Incarnate Word over McNeese, 69-67. Stephen F. Austin over Abilene Christian, 73-71. San Francisco over San Diego, 78-62. Santa Clara over Portland, 102-89. Radford over NCAT, 62-53. Longwood over Campbell, 60-55. Notre Dame over Georgia Tech, 90-56. Missouri State over Evansville, 88-79. Western Michigan over Bowling Green, 78-67. Number 7, Duke over Syracuse, 97-72. TCU over number 9, Texas Tech, 69-66. Number 13, Wisconsin over Rutgers, 66-61. Number 24, Alabama over South Carolina, 90-71. Norfolk State over SC State, 69-59, or 63-59. Washington over Wazoo, 78-70. Brown over Columbia, 81-74. Northern Iowa over Loyola Chicago, 102-96 in overtime. St. Bonaventure over St. John's, 54-52. Belmont over Tennessee State, 87-67. Bethune-Cookman over Southern, 87-84 in overtime. Arkansas Pine Bluff over Miss Valley State, 93-79. Alcorn State over Prairie View, 76-69. Stony Brook over Albany, 66-50. South Florida over Cincinnati, 56-54. Rice over Southern Miss, 77-72 in overtime. Old Dominion over FIU, 83-63. Middle Tennessee over Western Kentucky, 69-52. Wake over Louisville, 99-77. Northern Kentucky over Youngstown State, 75-61. Wright State over Robert Morris, 71-61. Western Carolina over VMI, 82-73. Wofford over Mercer, 74-67. Kent State over Central Michigan, 73-71. Loyola Marymount over Pacific, 90-77. Colorado over number 2, Arizona, 79-63. Number 10, Baylor over number 5, Kansas, 80-70. Santa Barbara over Riverside, 97-90 in double overtime. UC Davis over Northridge, 68-49. Northern Colorado over Idaho, 98-94. A&M Corpus Christi over Houston Baptist, 75-70. Grand Canyon over Sam Houston, 67-41. Charleston over Lamar, 57-49. BYU over Pepperdine, 79-59. 75-59. UIC over Milwaukee, 71-58. Bradley over Valpo, 79-55. South Dakota over Oral Roberts, 92-87. South Dakota State over UMKC, 86-75. St. Thomas over Omaha, 95-74. Wyoming over Nevada, 74-61. Number 11, Providence over Creighton, 72-51. Texas Southern over Jackson State, 81-66. Cal over Stanford, 53-39. Tennessee Tech over UT Martin, 88-75. LSU over Missouri, 75-55. UAB over Utah, 69-66. Seattle over Dixie State, 73-65. Number 23, St. Mary's over number 1, Gonzaga, 67-57. What a big win for St. Mary's. Number 16, USC over Oregon, 70-69. Arizona State over Utah, 63-61. Portland State over Idaho State, 73-69 in overtime. Sac State over Eastern Washington, 81-75. Boise over UNLV, 86-76. Colorado State over Utah State, 66-55. Irvine over Long Beach State, 77-72. And Hawaii over Bakersfield, 62-50. Sunday's results. Number 21, UConn over Georgetown, 86-77. Princeton over Harvard, 74-73. Number 14, Houston over SMU, 75-61. Canisius over Quinnipiac, 72-67. Number 15, Illinois over Michigan, 93-85. Fairfield over Michigan, 66-62. St. Peter's over Niagara, 63-36. Siena over Monmouth, 70-59. Iona over Rider, 67-61. Memphis over Wichita State, 81-57. George Mason over George Washington, 69-62. Temple over Tulane, 75-70. Maryland over number 22, Ohio State, 75-60. East Tennessee State over UNC Greensboro, 73-69. DePaul over St. John's, 99-94. Montana over Montana State, 80-74. Indiana over Minnesota, 84-79. And Nebraska over Penn State, 93-70. Now we look ahead to the games being played tonight. And first we'll start with a game that was suspended from January 27th between Delaware and Towson. This was a game that had to be stopped because there was like a leak in the roof or something, so I apologize because I don't have a projection for that one. 7 o'clock, Charleston Hofstra. My projection is Hofstra by 6 7/8, total 152 35 And we got Hofstra by 5.5, total 159. Under. NEC tournament first round game. We talked about this game more in depth on the NEC tournament preview and predictions show, which is the first of 32 that I'm running. I project Dickinson by 4 7/8, total 140 and a quarter. And that game line is Let's see here. I'm trying to find out here. I can't find it here. This is so weird. The game's not even posted yet, amazingly enough. And this is a big game, too. So I'm going to search Central Con State. And I just need to make a pick. For this game. Being played from Teaneck, as we know, we don't even have any odds up for this, amazingly enough. But yeah, my projections again, Fairleigh Dickinson 4 7/8, total 140 1/4. I think Fairleigh Dickinson moves on. It's just unfortunate we don't have a line out for this game. Let's move on. UMass Fordham. My projection is a pick'em in 142 4500ths, and it's 2 in 137.5. I'll go with the over. Syracuse UNC on ESPN. My projection is UNC by 8.5, total 150.7, and 7.5 and 156.5. Under. NC Central, Norfolk State is 7:30. My projection is Norfolk by 9, total 140 and 6/10. And it's 8.5 and 139.5. Very close yet again. Slight over. SC State and Howard. My projection is Howard by 6 3/4, total 146, and it is 9.5 and 148.5. Taking SC State in the points. Delaware State and Coppin State. My projection is Coppin by 8 1/4, total 139 8/10, and it's 11.5 and 140.5. I'm taking Delaware State in the points. 8 o'clock, Big Ten Network. Northwestern at number 25, Iowa. My projection for this game is Iowa by 8 7/8, total 148.4, and it's 10 and 151.5. I'm going to go under. Maryland Eastern Shore and Morgan State. I got Morgan State 10.5, total 140 and 1500ths, and it is 3.5 and 140.5. I'm laying the 3.5 at Morgan. Bethune-Cookman and Grambling at 8:30. My projection is Grambling by 10 and 5/8, total 135 and 2/10. And it's 6.5 and 134.5. Laying the points. Alcorn State and Texas Southern. My projection is Southern by 11 1/4, total 135 and 1500ths. And it's 5.5 and 133.5. I'm laying the points. 9 o'clock, ESPN2, Kansas State at number 9, Texas Tech. My projection is Tech by 11 and 5/8, total 134 and 3/4, and it is 12 and 133.5. Very close all around. Very close. So I guess I'll go with the slight over. On ESPN, number 10 Baylor, number 20 Texas. My projection is Pick'em in 134 and 2/10. And it's 1.5 and 135. I'll take Texas getting the points. It's a slight lean to Texas. CBS Sports Network, San Diego State and Wyoming. My projection is San Diego State by 4, total 131, and it's 1.5 and 129. I'll lay the points. ESPNU, Jackson State and Prairie View. My projection is Prairie View by 4 3/4, total 136 and 6/500. And it's 4.5 and 133.5. Over. Florida A&M and Southern. My projection is Southern by 7 1/4, total 137 and 5/500. And 7.5 and 137.5. Oh my God. Slight lean towards Florida A&M. Like the slightest. 10 o'clock, New Mexico and Fresno State. My projection is Fresno by 10 and 1/8, total 136 and 7/10. And it's 10 and 133.5. I'll take the over. 11 o'clock, ESPN2, number 12, UCLA at Washington. My projection is UCLA by 8 3/8, total 141 and 9,500. So it's 8.5 and 139.5. I'll go with it over. And Wazoo, Oregon State on ESPNU. My projection is Wazoo by 3 3/4, total 139 and 3,500. And it is 8 and 137.5. I hate the pick, but give me Oregon State plus the 8. All right, now I'm going to move on to the NBA, where I'm going to recap all the games from the weekend, and we will look ahead to tonight's window of games. We'll be on Friday. Hornets over the Raptors, 125-93. Thunder over the Pacers, 129-125 in overtime. Magic over the Rockets, 119-111. Spurs over the Wizards, 157-153 in double overtime. Heat over the Knicks, 115-100. 76ers over the Timberwolves, 133-102. Pelicans over the Suns, 117-102. Jazz over the Mavs, 114-109. And the Clippers over the Lakers, 105-102. Saturday, Celtics over the Pistons, 113-104. Hawks over the Raptors, 127-100. Cavs over the Wizards, 92-86. Heat over the Spurs, 133-129. Grizzlies over the Bulls, 116-110. Nets over the Bucks, 126-123. And the Nuggets over the Kings, 115-110. Sunday, 76ers over the Knicks, 125-109. A game that I feel wasn't as distance as that final score was. I think this game was a lot closer than the final score indicated. Jazz over the Suns, 118-114. Pacers over the Celtics, 128-107. Pistons over the Hornets, 127-126 in overtime. Clips over the Rockets, 99-98. Mavs over the Warriors, 107-101 as the Mavs come back from 20-something down. Nuggets over the Trailblazers, 124-92. And the Pelicans over the Lakers, 123-95 as the Lakers heard some boos in their home arena. All right. Tonight's game, 7 o'clock, you have the Timberwolves and the Cavs. My projection is, wait for it, Minnesota by 3/4, total 216 and 9,500. That's because of the injuries to Cleveland. And here we got Minnesota by 3, total 219.5. So now I'm mad that I wasn't cute with my pick. So for here, I'm going to go with the under. Pacers Magic, my projections Magic by 3, total 217 or 218 and 3/4, and it's 1.5 and 231 under. Raptors Nets at 7:30. My projection is Brooklyn as an 11.5 point home underdog, total 219 and 500, and it is 4 and 218. I'm going to lay the points with Toronto. Bulls Heat. My projection is Miami by 3.5, total 218 and 6/10. That is 4.5 and 224.5. I'll take the under. 8 o'clock Spurs Grizzlies. My projection is Grizzlies by 10 and 3/4, so 224 and 2/10. And it's 8.5 and 236. Under. NBA TV Hornets Bucks. My projection is the Bucks by 6 1/4, total 226 and 1/10, and it is 10.5 and 240. Under. And then the Kings and the Thunder. My projection is the Thunder as a 4.5 point home underdog, total 217 and 5,500, and it is 4.5 and 228. Another under. So a lot of unders again on today's show. All right, NHL time. We will recap the games from the weekend and look ahead to tonight's games. Friday night, Hurricanes over the Blue Jackets 4-0. Blues over the Sabres 5-3. Blackhawks over the Devils 8-5. Avs over the Jets 6-3. Coyotes over the Golden Knights 3-1. The Kings over the Ducks 4-1. Saturday, Oilers over the Panthers 4-3. Flyers over the Caps 2-1. Pens over the Rangers 1-0. Habs over the Sens 2-1. Lightning over the Preds 3-2. Maple Leafs over the Red Wings 10-7. Flames over the Wild 7-3. Avs over the Golden Knights 3-2. The Bruins over the Sharks 3-1. And the Kings over the Islanders 5-2. And Sunday, Hurricanes over the Oilers 2-1. Stars over the Sabres 4-2. Blues over the Blackhawks 4-0. Jets over the Coyotes 5-3. Pens over the Blue Jackets 3-2. Canucks over the Rangers 5-2. Isles over the Ducks 4-0. And the Sharks over the Kraken 3-1. So, the Stadium Series was over the weekend. That was a fun game from Nissan Stadium as the Lightning win their first ever outdoor game. All right, only 3 games tonight. 7:30 of the Canucks and the Devils from Prudential Center. Devils minus 118, Canucks minus 102, over under 6.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. Canucks plus 1.5 is minus 265, Devils minus 5 is plus 210. The Canucks are red hot right now. They're 3 back of the wild card in the West. After being 7 back literally a week ago, they've turned it around. They're back in the race. So JT Miller might not be available anymore. But here I think is a little bit of a letdown spot. Second of a back-to-back. I really like New Jersey. Minus 118 at home against Vancouver. Maple Leafs Capitals. Leafs minus 140, Caps plus 116, over under 6.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 184, Caps plus 1.5 is minus 230. This is a hard one to figure out too. I'm going to go over because I think the Toronto's offense could put a number on Washington. And 10:30 NHL Network, the Bruins and the Kings from LA. Bruins minus 130, Kings plus 108, over under 5.5, overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 205, Kings plus 1.5 is minus 260. I like the Kings at home, plus 108 as a home dog. I like how they're playing right now. Second in the Pacific Division. They need this game. Well, Boston does too, to hold on to that wild card spot so they're not passed by the Capitals. So I'm going to go with the Kings at home at plus 108 as a little home underdog play for you tonight. MLS is back as the league kicked off over the weekend. I apologize because I did not discuss this on the Friday podcast last week. But MLS is back and we're here for it. It all started on Saturday. Philadelphia and Minnesota 1-1 draw. Columbus over Vancouver 4-0. LAFC over Colorado 3-0. Dallas, Toronto 1-1 draw. Austin over Cincinnati 5-0. DC over Charlotte 3-0. Miami, Chicago 0-0 draw. Red Bulls over San Jose 3-1. Portland, New England 2-2 draw. And Sunday, Orlando over Club Football Montreal 2-0. Atlanta over Kansas City 3-1. LA Galaxy over NYCFC 1-0. That's a great game to start the season. Houston, Salt Lake 0-0 draw, and Nashville over Seattle 1-0. So we won't have MLS again until next weekend. So MLS is just going to be on the weekends for a while here on Saturdays and Sundays until May. So just wanted to recap the results from MLS from the weekend. All right, now we will do the results from the Honda Classic, which took place over the weekend. And your winner of the tournament, the score of 10 under, Sepp Straka. Second place with a score of 9 under, Shane Lowry. Third place with a score of 8 under, Kurt Katayama. Fourth place with a score of 7 under, my pick, Daniel Berger. So not bad. Tied for 5th with 4 under, Gary Woodland and Alex Noren. Tied for 7th with 3 under, Chris Kirk and Matthias Schwab. Tied for 9th with 2 under, Sam Ryder Brock Stewart, John Ha, Lucas Hodges, Adam Svensson, and Keith Mitchell. 15th place with 1 under, Mark Hubbard. Tied for 16th at even, Chungson Pond, Dylan Fratelli, Cam Young, Brooks Koepka, Billy Horschel, B.U. Hostler, Nate Taylor, Martin Contanini, and Kevin Streelman. Now we're going to go through notables. Tied for 25th with 1 over, Christian Ziedenhout, Matthew Neesmith. Tied for 30th with 2 over, Mito Pereira, J.J. Spawn, Lucas Glover, Nate Watney, Dylan McCarthy, Ian Poulter, Louis Olson. Tied for 42nd with 3 over, J.T. Potson, Jonathan Vegas, Lee Westwood, Brandon Gay, Ricky Fowler, Dylan Riley. Tied for 48th with 4 over, Brendan Todd, Mackenzie Hughes, Rory Sabatini, Kyung-Hoo Lee. Tied for 55th with 5 over, Russell Knox, Vincent Taylor, Roger Sloan, Cam Thompson, Patrick Rogers in a tie for 64th with 6 over with Justin Lauer. Tied for 66 with 7 over Aaron Ray. Tied for 70th with 8 over Ryan Palmer. And among those cut, Bryce Garnett, Charles Schwartzel, Joaquin Neiman, Nate Lashley, Tommy Fleetwood, Lucas Herbert, Brian Harmon, Aaron Weiss, Dylan Vanderwalt, Chris Koepka, Lucas Donald, Adam Schenk, Sanjay M, Vincent Whaley, Kyle Stanley, Richie Wierenski, Brendan Steele, Michael Thompson, Charles Howell III, Doc Redman, Hudson Swafford, Henry Higgs, Matt Jones, Sodi Carriara, Patrick Reed, Mariano Gillick, Stuart Sink, Camellia Vegas, Matt Wolf. All right, now we'll recap the NASCAR races from the weekend. There's only 2 of them, Xfinity and Cup. We'll start with Xfinity results from Auto Club Speedway, and your winner, Cole Custer, coming in 2nd, Noah Gragson. 3rd, Trevor Bayne. 4th, Josh Berry. 5th, Anthony Alfredo. 6th, Sam Meyer. 7th, AJ Allmendinger. 8th, Justin Allgaier. 9th, Riley Herbst. 10th, Ryan Sieg. 11th, Brandon Brown. 12th, Daniel Hemrick. 13th, Ty Gibbs. 14th, Jeb Burton. 15th, Joe Graf Jr. The rest, Kyle Weatherman, Jeremy Clements, Kyle Sieg, Brett Moffitt, Joey Gase, Josh Williams, J.J. Yeley, Matt Mills, Alex Lebb, Kaz Gralla, Mayette Snyder, Austin Hill, Mason Massey, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Stefan Parsons, Tommy Joe Martins, Sheldon Creed, Brandon Jones, Bailey Curry, Ryan Vargas, Jesse Owuji, Jade Buford, and Landon Castle. And the Cup Series results. The Auto Club 400, and your winner, Kyle Larson. 2nd place, Austin Dillon. 3rd place, Eric Jones. 4th, Daniel Suarez. 5th, Joey Logano. 6th, Eric Almirola. 7th, Kevin Harvick. 8th, Kurt Busch. 9th, Daniel Hemrick. 10th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The rest, Cole Custer, Austin Cindric, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Ty Dillon, Ryan Blaney, Darrell Wallace Jr., Todd Gilliland, Garrett Smithley, BJ McLeod, Justin Haley, Tyler Reddick, Alec Bowman, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Corey LaJoie, Ross Chastain, Josh Bilicki, Michael McDowell, Cody Ware, Harrison Burton, William Byron, Chris Buescher, Chris Bell, and that's it for the California race. And then next weekend you have Vegas in the Cup, Xfinity, and Trucks. So all 3 are going this upcoming weekend from Vegas. So looking forward to that. All right, now we're going to discuss last night's episode of American Idol. It was really good. Some fun subplots to follow. So they showed auditions in Nashville, Los Angeles, and Austin. There's a new twist this season called the Platinum Ticket. You know how you get the golden ticket when you go to Hollywood? But for their 20th season, they're going to go with a Platinum Ticket, which is the best of auditions, and bypass the first round of Hollywood. So they give out one per audition city. And we'll get to who got to it towards the end of this segment. So the first person that performed was a gentleman by the name of Noah Thompson from Louisa, Kentucky. 3 yeses into Hollywood. Then we had somebody named Normandy, 29 years old. She was very cute. She had a a different voice, a very squeaky voice, and you wouldn't think she's 29 years old in terms of a talking voice, but if you heard her sing, she was amazing. I was blown away, and she performed 2 songs, Proud Mary by Tina Turner and Set Fire to the Rain by Adele. She was from Baltimore, and she got 3 yeses into Hollywood. Then we had somebody named Nicolina by the age of 18 years old from Toronto, and she performed Chose to Be Mine by Sarah Bareilles. She got 3 yeses as well. She was phenomenal. Then we had a kid named Tyler, 24 years old, from Mobile, Alabama. And he performed When You Believe by Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, and he got into Hollywood. Then we had a country girl named Maddie Gladwell, 19 years old, from Glasgow, Kentucky, performing Redneck Woman by Gretchen Wilson. She just wasn't very mature. They all said no to her. But they told her to come back. Then we have a girl named Cameron Champion, 16 years old, from Lumberton, New Jersey. She got into Hollywood. She was really good. And what I thought was the biggest storyline of the show, there's a girl, 15 years old, by the name of Grace Franklin, who was the granddaughter of one Aretha Franklin. And she performed a couple of Aretha's hits, but she just really wasn't mature enough to be on the show. She was 15. She kept singing with her eyes closed. And the only person that said yes was Katy Perry, and the gentleman said no. And then Lionel had a talk with her, because Lionel obviously knows the family. And they told her to come back next year. But I think that she has potential long term, but she just has more growing and developing to do. And then there's a girl, her stage name being Hunter Girl, 23 years old. But I don't remember what her last name was. It was something long. From Winchester, Kentucky, and she performed a song by the Rascal Flatts, and she was one of the better performers of the night. She's on to Hollywood. Then there's a boy by the name of Cole Hallman, 23 years old, from Manasquan, New Jersey. Really neat story about him from here in New Jersey. He brought in his mom and his sister, and he made it through to Hollywood. There's a girl, Delaney Renee, 18 years old, from Berkeley, Massachusetts, and she performed Opportunity by Sia. She got into Hollywood. She was really good. And the final performer of the evening is one that everybody's going to be talking about. His name is Taylor Fagans from New York, and he writes music. He does movies. He acts. He does plays. And he wrote a song for the audition, and it was about a very, very serious topic. And he said he wrote it a few days after the passing of George Floyd. And he mentions Breonna Taylor in the song too. And the song had a lot of people in goosebumps, for sure. And Lionel Richie loved it. Luke Bryan loved it. Katy Perry loved it. I think he was really good too. And obviously he got 3 yeses in the Hollywood. And I'm interested to see how far Taylor goes. He's a really talented kid. And I want to see what other types of music he can write. But the platinum ticket did not go to Taylor. It went to Hunter Girl. Amazingly enough. As they showed her getting the platinum ticket, they asked her to perform at Luke Bryan's restaurant in Nashville, and they aired it. And then Luke, Katie, and Lionel surprised her at Luke's place, and they gave her the platinum ticket. And then Luke went up and performed his song Country Girl, except remade the words a little bit, which is kind of funny. But I thought the best performers from a vocal standpoint were Hunter Girl, Taylor Figgins, Delaney Renee, and Normandy. I'm very interested in a lot of people from this group, and I'm obviously looking forward to next week's episode as well, which should be very interesting, to say the least. All right, now I'm going to go over my news and notes for today. We got to start with Major League Baseball and how that could potentially go down. That being the agreement, as John Heyman said that the league was close on an agreement, but Zach Britton called him out on Twitter, said it's not close, and a lot of other players called him out and said it's not close. And today is the deadline day, and they're going to have a lockout extend the lockout and cancel opening day if nothing happens today. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I might have an emergency show tonight, depending on what the verdict is of this and how this goes down. But I have a lot of other things going on. Obviously, I got to record more college basketball tourney podcasts, and I want to get started with the NFL offseason stuff as well. And on Saturday, there was no progress, and the league canceled spring training games, with the earliest start being March 8th. But if I had to predict how this goes down, I'm going to say that the lockout continues. We won't have opening day in March, but we'll have it on Memorial Day Monday, which would be very appropriate for the league. So I think that baseball will begin Memorial Day Monday. That's my prediction, but we'll see. And if this agreement comes to fruition, then I admit defeat. And Rob Manfred, he's still an awful commissioner. He's the worst commissioner in sports. But I got to give him credit if they pull this off. So, other news. Tyreek Evans to meet with the Bucs after being reinstated from the 3-year suspension. College football attendance hits 40-year low as the attendance declines for 7th straight season to lowest average since 1981, which is very unfortunate. I personally think that because of COVID, there's still a down in numbers of attendance, but I think it'll eventually go back up. The Art Boreals hire not finalized to be Grambling State's offensive coordinator, as there's still hurdles to be cleared. The New York Giants are likely declining Daniel Jones' 5th-year option before the May deadline, as, let's face it, that's the right move. He has not proven to be a franchise quarterback. So, new front office, new coach, so this makes sense as well. Jimmy Butler praises R.J. Barrett after 46 points against the Heat the other night and says he's going to be the face of the Knicks. I've been saying that for a while. I really do believe that R.J. is going to be the face of the franchise. It's just that last year Julius Randle had the career year and everyone got excited. And I feel bad for R.J. because nobody's talking about how good he's been over the last month or so because of how the team has underperformed this season. And the issue with the Knicks is that no one thought they were going to be good last year, or else this wouldn't be considered a disappointing season or it still would have been, but not to the extent that it is, you know? And guess what? Julius Randle probably would have been traded if they didn't make the playoffs last year. Quentin Grimes out 2 weeks after suffering a knee injury against the Heat, but won't need surgery, so that's good news. Michael Porter Jr. eyeing March return, so that's great news for the Denver Nuggets. Damian Lillard to be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. Ben Simmons dealing with a back issue, and he needs further training before returning to action. Kevin Durant could return this week, so that's really good news. Markelle Fultz back for Orlando on Monday against the Pacers, so that's good news. Victor Oladipo could return mid-March, so that'd be a big addition for Miami. Rajon Rondo out 2 weeks with a toe sprain. OJ Anunoby fractures his finger. That is not good news for the Raptors. Sean McVay not pursuing a TV deal and is committed to the Rams. That's good news for the Rams. Kirk Cousins' influence head coaching hire as he put a lot of time behind the scenes into getting Kevin O'Connell hired. So it looks like the Vikings are committed to Kirk Cousins. I know everybody says that they're a dark horse candidate for a new quarterback, but Kirk hasn't been that terrible with the Vikings. He actually has been decent. Solid starting quarterback for Minnesota. It's just unfortunate because that defense is not what it used to be. And the Vikings made one playoffs with Kirk Cousins? Yes. Because they beat the Saints and lost to the Niners. Amazon is eyeing Kirk Herbstreit as its Thursday Night Football analyst. So that is a huge deal. We'll see if Herbstreit ends up leaving ESPN for Amazon, but I doubt it because, let's face it, college football is Kirk's baby. He loves college football. He's not leaving Lee Corso and Reese Davis and Desmond Howard. The NFL is considering offensive tackle rule change as there's some sentiment within the NFL competition committee for modifying offensive tackle for postseason. So we'll see about that. Something cool yesterday, we talked about Quentin Grimes. He's related to Tyler Myers of the Canucks. As Myers scored a goal in the Garden and Grimes was loving it. I don't think that's going to go over well with Knicks fans. I'm sorry. It's just not going to go over well with Knicks fans because Knicks fans are Rangers fans, and that's just not going to bode well. Or I should say most Knicks fans are Rangers fans. Kyler Murray wants a long-term deal. As the agent says, he wants to stay in Arizona but needs commitment. Our actions speak much louder than words. The Colts are looking for a new quarterback as Ian Rappaport reports that Indy is actively looking to upgrade over Carson Wentz ahead of the new league year. They're definitely judging that on that last game against the Jaguars. And some other stuff with Wentz that has gone on that I think is not really been talked about in terms of why the organization may want to move on. The Chiefs bring back Matt Nagy as a new senior assistant / quarterbacks coach. So maybe Nagy will repair his reputation a little bit. New overtime rule proposals. The NFL Competition Committee will discuss a proposal to guarantee each team a possession in overtime. That is fantastic news. Fantastic news. And they're judging that based on that Bills-Chiefs game. Matt Corral won't throw out the combine and plans to be a full go for March 23rd as pro day as he recovers from the ankle injury. WNBA players to leave Russia. Several players currently playing in Russia to plan leave country amid government's invasion of Ukraine. Kyrie Irving had a moment with his dad after Brooklyn beat Milwaukee on Saturday primetime. He had 38 points, which was a season high. And Kyrie gives his father a hug. If you didn't see this awful DeAndre Jordan pass, then check it out, which pretty much sums up the Lakers season. It's probably one of the more laughable but truly disgusting, if you're a Laker fan, lowlights, highlights you'll see in a while. I remember there's a Knicks player that did something similar in a year that the Knicks were tanking when Derek Fisher was their head coach. And then it was a big deal for a while. But that's what this reminded me of. All right, so international games. Home teams. Packers, Bucks, Saints, Jaguars, Cardinals. That's surprising that the Packers are among those home teams because they lose a game at what's the name of their stadium? Lambeau. So that's unfortunate for them. But if they have 8 home games and 8 road games, sure. I think that Packers fans will be okay with that. But they were one of the teams that had 9 road games and 8 home games, and it goes down to 9 road games and really 10 road games and 7 home games, then that's something that the Packer fan base isn't going to like. And then non-sports related news, Andrew Cuomo to release TV ad today in a comeback bid. That is going to be pretty hysterical because he's just going to get mocked by the media and everything. But I don't think that he's going to be back in the politics anytime soon. He is a complete jerk for what he did. And caused a huge ripple effect within the state and within some TV networks as well. New York statewide school indoor mask order will end on Wednesday, according to Kathy Hochul. So that's good news for New York. And Eric Adams may lift the key to NYC vaccine mandate on March 7th if the numbers continue to decline. That is great news in New York City. And what's not great news is there's some exceptions, including like employees of certain places must still be vaccinated, which leads us to one Kyrie Irving for the time being. So that is very unfortunate for the Brooklyn Nets. And Kyrie still isn't going to be allowed to play home games, which is ridiculous. And then the CDC releases new mask guidance and says most Americans could forego the mask. So that is also great news considering that the cases around the country are going down. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I'm going with an NBA under again. It's been fun to do considering that these lower scoring teams are having high totals. I went with the over in Devils Blackhawks Friday night. That was easy. But for today, I'm going to go with an under in the NBA, but I just don't know which one I want to go with. Let's go with the Pacers Orlando, because I think that I know Markelle Fultz is back, but I just feel that with some of the losses Indiana has, and Orlando is just not good offensively. And that's the main reason why I like that under so much. So I'm going to go under 231, lay 1 unit on it between the Magic and the Pacers for my final best bet of February. All right, so that's it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything from today and looking ahead to everything tomorrow. I'm going to drop 2 more college basketball conference tournament preview shows, which will be the Big South and the OVC. And also on tomorrow's show, I'm going to do my first mock bracket of the year. So I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.